In this video, we're taking a look at the reason and method for learning licks. Hello and welcome to Tuts, the show where we explore guitar playing and music theory to take our playing to the next level. I'm your host, Ray George. Following on from last week's video on why and how we practice scales, in my opinion, the next step to putting those scales to use is to start learning some licks that are composed using the scales that you've been playing. A lick, as you may know, is a short musical phrase. Just like when we talk or write something, we use phrases to express ourselves. The same is true in music. You probably never really think about it, but a lot of phrases that you use when you just talk to people are phrases that everybody uses in some way, and you've picked them up over time. Whether it's something obvious like a figure of speech or a cliche, or something more subtle, either way, those phrases and the way that you use them are a big part of who you are. If you only ever learnt the alphabet and a bunch of words, your speech would probably be pretty disjointed and strange. So taking that back to music and the guitar, the same thing applies. The difference is that we're not all playing the guitar every waking hour of the day, and we're certainly not using it as a primary means of communication. So we're not picking these phrases up naturally. So hopefully you can see the point that I'm getting at, which is that this is why we need to put effort into consciously learning licks with the goal that they will become a natural part of your musical vocabulary and your own personality. This is the way that I think about it anyway, based on my experience. I'm sure there's other ways you could look at it. If you understand it another way, I'd love for you to share it with us down in the comment section. The next thing is, of course, how we should practice licks in order to get the most out of them and actually put them to use. So if we continue to use that kind of speech analogy for a little longer and look at how from a child or when learning a new language, your speech develops by basically learning something new and just trying things out, actually using it and seeing if it works and constantly adding to that until you're fluent. So learning licks is basically the same kind of thing. You take a new lick idea, make sure you know what scale the lick is based upon and therefore which chords the lick can work over, and then you start using it and adapting it depending on the musical situation to see how it fits. And then keep using it so that it becomes part of your musical vocabulary. Before I go on to showing you an example of practically how you might start doing that, there's one other thing that I would suggest that you do after you've learned a lick, but before you put it over a backing, and that's to make sure you know the lick in every position on the fretboard. This will speed up the process of putting it to use, as you can be anywhere on the fretboard and go straight into the new lick without having to think about where it is in relation to the position that you're currently in. And that's of course where that practice of your scales that we talked about last week will come in really handy. So here's an example. It's probably one of my go-to blues licks. You've probably heard it in my playing before. It's built out of the pentatonic scale, in this case the A minor pentatonic. I'll play it once up to speed, followed by a slower version so that you can get a better look at what my fingers are up to. Once you've got that, we can then check out some other positions. We can move it to the second position here, the fifth position here, the seventh position, the ninth position, and the last one I'll show you is in the 12th position. Now once you've got all of that down, you can start using your knowledge, in this case of the pentatonic scale, in all of those positions to lead in and out of the lick. And to start playing in context, you could use an A blues, or to keep things simple, just an A7 chord as a backing. And there you go, we're starting to actually make music. Hopefully you can really see how knowing your scales and all the practice from last week's video really comes into play here, helping you move around in and out of the licks more easily and in a musical way, and also how the licks can really help you to express yourself on the guitar. I'd really like to start exploring different licks with you guys from different scales and genres and really look more in depth at how theory practically applies through these examples. If you have any particular preference for a scale or genre that you'd like me to explore, please let me know down in the comments. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button to let me know. And as usual, if you have any questions or you're unsure about anything I covered, please ask questions down in the comments, as well as any other suggestions, comments or requests that you might have. And if this is one of the first of my videos that you've watched, welcome to my channel. I'm really happy to have you here. As you might have guessed, I'm really passionate about music, and for myself and you guys to really be able to express yourselves in some way through the music that you play. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to keep up to date.